What's up, QC fam? It is Queen Chef, Author, Healer, and we are here for episode 3 of Home Cooked Conversations, one of my segments here where I talk to you about the healer part of Queen Chef, Author, Healer. And this is how I give back. Home Cooked Conversations is how I share myself with the world in a new way. So I'm so glad that y'all are here. So I'm happy, I'm still in a good mood, but my energy is a little bit more serious. And reason being, today's episode is called Silent Triggers. And specifically what I want to hone in on is random sadness. And there's a reason for this. So there was actually another topic planned for today, but I want to talk about this because I still experience it currently. And although I have solutions and I have things that I'm going to share with you guys, it's still a big deal to me. And it's a big deal to me because oftentimes I find myself like, if you're grateful, you're positive for the most part, you try to, maintain your positivity. And when I can't be positive, I try to, distance myself so I don't affect others. You know what I mean? But the part of this that is important for me to share is there are a lot of people who know me one way or know me for being that person who can know me for being the light, the person who can be the light in any situation. And I often encourage people and talk to you guys about finding a positive no matter what, which we are going to add to this conversation. But I don't want it to ever be mistaken. I don't want it to ever be confused about what happens in the moments that I can't be positive or the moments where I don't feel in control of my emotions. So, we're going to jump right into it. I am prepping me some peppers during this episode, as you guys can see. So I'll be prepping my peppers for my food that I'm going to make later. So what I specifically wanted to talk to you guys about as it relates to what I'm calling silent triggers, and I want to be clear. The reason I'm saying silent triggers is because these are the things that may cause you to get down or get sad and you don't even realize it. You know what I mean? These things can be people, places, objects, or just random thoughts that you have that cause a bout of sadness or cause you to just randomly be triggered and you're not sure why. It doesn't always have to be sadness. Sometimes it can be anger. You know what I mean? The same way you can have a thought and it make you happy, or like myself, I'll think about something that happened 2 weeks ago and I'll burst out laughing. The same way that can go in a positive direction, it can also go in a negative direction. So, those 4 things, just like a noun, people, place, things, and thoughts, all those things can cause random sadness. So that's why it's important to be in control of your mind and control of where you let your mind go and what you let your mind take in, because that leads me to my next one. Sometimes those thoughts and those feelings can be triggered by the things you even see just scrolling on social media. You can be scrolling, and it's not always that you necessarily are envious. And I try to tell people this, it's not always that you're envious or you're jealous or you want what another person has. Sometimes I can have the thought that I'm happy, I can be extremely happy for that person, congratulatory, so happy they're having great things happen, and then a thought creep up on me like, dang, what's wrong with me? Dang, how did I miss that? You know what I mean? And in a sense, that is still envy, and that's, because you're coveting what another person has. But I want you to understand, it's not about the fact that you just want what they have. You're trying to figure out how you haven't been able to get the things you want. And the thing that I want to say about that is it's absolutely normal. It's what's not okay. It's normal and it's okay. The thing that makes it not okay is when you dwell in it and you sit in it and you let that cause real envy or a mean spirit or anything toward that person or toward that thing. You know what I mean? Because a lot of us can be happy with what we have and be happy, and that may not be a lot, but we still know how to be happy for others. So I want to make the distinction clear about what I'm saying. I'm saying it's completely normal to have a thought like that, but you have to be able to pull yourself out of it, and that's the part that we're going to get to the solutions for this, or some of the solutions that have worked for me in a moment. But I just want to make it clear that if that happens to you, you're not alone. You're not a hater. You're not a jealous, mean-spirited person just because, you might be happy for a person and then a few minutes later might be trying to figure out, what you're doing wrong. You know what I mean? I just want to make it clear that I feel, in my opinion, that's a normal thought, that's a normal thing. But we're going to work out some solutions for that. Another thing that I've noticed is one of the silent triggers that causes random sadness is our past traumas. And this is where that healer in me is so adamant about addressing your issue. Here's why this one is so serious to me. I feel this is the biggest one. Your past trauma can affect so many things in your present day. Your past trauma can affect how you operate in relationships, what you do and don't get out of a relationship, your inability to communicate in a relationship. And I'm not just talking about romantic relationships. I'm not just talking about intimate partners. I'm talking best friends, family members, just being able to maintain a relationship of any kind. It takes a certain level of healing. And if you find yourself struggling with relationships or struggling to maintain friendships, that past trauma could most definitely be an underlying reason, right? Because it's unaddressed, and it's like it's just under there and it's tormenting you, but you're not even aware. You know what I mean? That trauma a lot of times we've used our pain from past traumas to formulate who we are now and who we become. And that is definitely a silent trigger, because you're not always aware of it. So a lot of times it's subconscious. It's the things that are happening deep down. It's the things that are happening internally. The things that are happening, the things that your subconscious mind is communicating to your body, or is communicating and causing you to have emotions or react in a certain way. And sometimes you're just not sure why. Like, you ever do something, it's like, I don't even know why I said that. I don't even know why I did that. I don't even know why I was tripping so hard. Like, most of us, we know how to, look at a situation and assess it and say, all right, now damn, I was tripping. I didn't have to do that. I didn't have to say that. I didn't have to go that hard. And a lot of times, those are the reasons why. A lot of times, that past trauma, those underlying things are the reasons why. Another silent trigger that I feel contributes to random sadness is current stress. So you can be stressed about so many different things at once, because we all know life be lifing. The fact that you can be stressed by so many different things and not really be aware. You could be stressed about finances. You could be stressed about sickness. You could be stressed about family members. You could be stressed about a loved one, relationships, boyfriend ain't acting right, girlfriend acting up. So many different things can have you stressed. And sometimes we get into these moments where we tell ourselves, whatever, I'm over it, I'm not dealing with that, it's not a big deal. But I want to be very clear about something. That is a survival mode technique. That's not actually dealing with the stress or the trauma even. That's not actually dealing with it. That's a survival mode technique. That's something you developed when you were going through whatever you were going through, so that you could now move forward in a way where you don't feel affected by it anymore. That's not healing. It's not the same. That is a survival mode technique. And we have to learn the difference and try to start doing things differently. Start actually addressing these things. And when I say addressing these things, it doesn't mean you have to go back and have a conversation and tell whoever did what that you hate them and you know what I mean, or what they did to you. A lot of times our healing can be addressed within ourselves. I used to be a person that said, maybe it might be better to have the conversation, and I used to believe it was absolutely necessary. But I don't anymore, because you can get to a place of healing with just you. Because the reason you need the healing most of the time is because it's about what you told yourself about what was going on. So if you could tell yourself something negative about what was going on, if you could tell yourself that a person didn't like you or mistreated you for a particular reason, then you can recreate that narrative and tell yourself something new. You can apply new factors to that situation. You can apply new knowledge to that situation so that it changes your perspective to a more positive one. The last silent trigger that I feel contributes towards random sadness is other people's trauma. And because of where we are this day and age, other people's trauma, usually, just like the last one, usually comes off the internet. We see traumatic things all the time, whether it be the police brutality, whether it be fights, whether it be people arguing and fighting and family drama, whatever it might be. Those things can silently trigger you as well. And then you get in a mood or you get an attitude about something that your family member did that you weren't even mad about. But you know what I mean? Now you've seen something that you can identify with, and now you're mad and don't even know why. What brought me to this topic, I was watching a video this morning. I was watching a video, and it was basically one of those, everybody knows the little risque joke that's kind of going around. Been going around for a few years. The F them kids joke. So, and for most people, they're just saying it as a joke. But I watched a video someone posted this morning about, and it was from the parent perspective. And the mom was talking about how kids will grow up and try to hold you to the things that you did as a parent when they were younger, and try to bash you even as adults, or what she was taking as bashing. And the reason that triggered me, and the reason I know it triggered, because in the moment, I was just watching the video, right? I didn't know, I wasn't really paying attention to my level of emotions, not while I was watching it. But I do know that I felt the way, because afterward, after I listened to her talk, I was sitting there and I was just thinking, I was like, I was upset. Like, I got upset, and I was like, that doesn't even, I'm telling myself, like, that doesn't even make sense. She's not considering how the kids feel. She's not considering, I was like, she's not, she doesn't understand what they're saying. Like, all these things, I'm trying to, in my mind, this is how I know I was triggered. I'm trying to explain the perspective for someone I don't know, who she can't hear my explanation. I don't know her personal situation. So this is how I know I was triggered. And after me sitting there trying to explain it, I thought about my own parental relationships. I thought about my relationship with my mom, and I thought about how easily these conversations go left. And although I feel like what some of the stuff she said in the video was valid, I felt like I wanted to explain for her kids. And so that's that video itself is a whole other topic, but just the fact that I was upset and still trying to make it make sense and trying to explain it even after the video had gone off, that was an indication for me that was a silent trigger, and I had to, reset my mind. I had to reset. And so that leads me into, these are what I like to call on-hand solutions. Y'all know when they selling the clothes and they be like, I have this on hand, meaning I have it available right here, right now. So my on-hand solutions for silent triggers, particularly dealing with random sadness or random anger. This might seem so simple, so cliche, but I have a playlist in my phone, and it's just my mood lifting playlist. It's literally named that in my phone, my mood lifters. So basically, this is just a playlist of songs that I know will make me dance or will make me happy. Because sometimes when you're sad, one of the biggest solutions or suggestions I've always seen was to get moving, whether it be dancing, exercising. To get moving is one that I see consistently. So I put songs on there that are not the ones that are known to make you cry. Don't put any of those on there, because in this particular moment, what we're trying to do is get up out of that funk. We're trying to eliminate that sadness for the moment. If it's something you actually need to deal with, then there's a healthy way to do that. But these are our on-hand solutions to instantly get ourselves back right for something that, you know, we could be at work watching these things. We could be like, I was getting ready to work. I was getting ready to start working, start writing. Right before I did this, and you know, while I was sitting there, I watched the video, and then it's like I didn't even want to write anymore. And so that's why I'm saying these are important, because the fact that I wanted to explain and I want to deal with those things, that may be a conversation that I need to have. I can have that conversation with my mom or with my best friend or with whomever. It may be a conversation that needs to happen, but me getting triggered and sad in that moment, it just didn't make sense. So that's why having the things that you need to help you out of that mood on hand is important. Like I said, a good playlist that gets you moving, either gets you singing or dancing or just, you know, moving around in general. However, whatever you need to do to get moving. Whatever songs need to be on there to lift your mood, lift your spirits, the ones that you know are going to make you smile. I have a few really good ones that I know I cannot sit still for. So have a few of those in that place. The second on-hand solution that I have and that I love is a gratitude journal. Now, this can be an actual journal or it can be digital. I recommend an actual journal, but the reason I have it in my phone as well is so that if I'm ever out and I can't get to my actual journal, or I left it home, I don't have it in my purse, then I'll go to my gratitude notes in my phone, where I have a list of just a bunch of random things that I'm grateful for, and I add to it constantly. So if I can't get to my journal to actually write something out, then I'll use my phone. But if you can get a journal and you don't mind writing, I highly suggest it. It's highly recommended to actually write it down, because you know it takes more time. You get to actually feel and write your way through the feeling. You know, it takes more time to write it, so it allows you more time to process it. And the idea is that as you're writing these things and coming up with more things to write down about what you're grateful for, then you get to kind of eliminate that feeling of sadness. You get to kind of push that trigger away from you, push it back out, because what's important in that moment is that you recognize no matter what may have happened from past trauma, no matter what great thing somebody else is doing that you're not, no matter what trauma you saw online earlier that day or what the world is turned upside down about, no matter what's going on with that, you have something right there in front of you to be a constant reminder that you're actively adding to say, I have things to be grateful for as well. Because regardless of what happened in the past, I have things I can be grateful for right now. So that's kind of the purpose of the gratitude journal. I love that tool. I love that technique. I use my gratitude journal usually at night. I can usually think back over my day and find something to be grateful for. No matter what happened, no matter what went wrong, I can usually find something. And I like to go to bed after I've done that, because it's a different level of peace when you go to bed with gratitude on your mind versus sadness. And you also wake up different. So if you need to start your day with your gratitude journal, that'll work too. But as I said, for this particular purpose, for those random silent triggers that we might get throughout the day, it may just help to always keep your gratitude journal on you. My third solution is meditation and prayer. Again, I feel like this is another one that is a little cliche, but I want to explain it to you in the way that I understand it. So prayer for me is talking to the Most High. That's me getting my communication out. The meditation is the listening part for me. So I like to do these things together. I like to pray first, then meditate. I like to start my morning off with that. I don't always do both. I'll be completely honest with you. I don't always do both. There are some mornings when I can be in a rush and I have to pray on the go. And as we know, meditation is about being still, being silent. So that's why I see it as the receiving end of the prayer. I feel like they go hand in hand, because I just communicated what I want, what I need, where I am, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and then I take the time, maybe 10 minutes after the prayer, to just sit in silence and receive. And even if I don't get instant downloads or instant messages right then, I've opened myself up to them by doing that meditation right after the prayer. And the reason this helps me with those triggers is because when I'm putting myself in a state to receive a message or to communicate with God about what I need or what's going on with me, it in general makes me feel better, because in that moment, in that instant, I don't feel alone. It's a reminder that I'm not alone. So being able to just instantly turn to prayer in a moment where I'm feeling down or feeling sad, it's an extremely helpful resource, because a lot of times that being alone can contribute to the sadness that comes with those silent triggers. The last solution I have for these silent triggers that lead to sadness or anger is starting your day off right. I've always wanted to be one of the morning routine girlies, one of the morning routine girls that's recording, waking up to making a reel, waking up to making content, waking up all pretty. Listen, that's just not my life. It's not my life, and I'm okay with that. But the most important part, even if I don't get to wake up pretty, go sit on the patio every morning and pour tea every morning, what is important is that I start my thoughts off right. I start my day off right. Now, I'm still going to get some foolishness and might get some social media drama throughout the day that I done sat there and laughed at, or one of those posts where you all up in people's comments because there's something going on and you just being nosy, going through all the comments, don't know a single person out the whole ordeal, but you all up in there, going through the stuff. That might happen later in the day. But what I'm very careful to do, even if I don't get my whole morning routine out that I would like to do, I start off with something good. For me right now, it's audiobooks. So as a part of my wake up, That's one of the first things I do. I immediately turn on my audiobook so that even just as I'm either fixing my bed or going to brush my teeth, that's what I'm hearing. That's the first thing I'm taking in. Before I even get a chance to think a negative thought, I have positivity already kind of happening. It's very important to make sure that the very first thing you either do or hear or see is something positive. I just always have it ready so that as soon as I wake up, I'm moving around my room, or I might be even sluggish, slow getting out of bed that morning. That's what I'm doing. I have that next to me and I have it ready because that's what I want to hear first. Before I hear anything negative, before I go to Facebook and see anything negative, the first thing I took in was positive. And starting my day off right has helped me be able to manage and set the tone for my entire day. So that as those silent triggers try to creep in, I'm a little bit better at noticing them quicker and rejecting them because I've already set my mood. I've already set my tone. So it's a little bit harder for those triggers to penetrate my mood because I've already put it where I want it. You know what I mean? If you don't take the time to do that, that's another reason those silent triggers have so much of an effect on you, because you never took the time to set the sat. You never took the time to set the temperature to where you wanted it. So your temperature is going to adjust all throughout the day because it's being adjusted by whatever happens, versus having an internal temperature setting and setting it yourself first thing in the morning. Like, this is the gauge, this is where we at, this is where we want to be. So those are my solutions. I hope that, I will list these things a little bit more straightforward and precise in the description for you guys. But I do hope that some of this was helpful to you. If anything I've said, any of this information was helpful to you or something you think you'll be able to use or implement, drop me a yellow heart in the comments. Let me know if it's helpful to you. Let me know if I'm on the right track here, because Home Cook Conversations is my baby, but it's for you. It's for the world. This is the part of me that I want to share and I want to give. And I hope that you guys love it and enjoy it as much as I love giving it to you. Thank you so much for being here. This was our Silent Triggers conversation. Like, share, subscribe, all the good things. I love you guys. Take care. See you on the next one.